What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T, with Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty. Listen, happy Sunday to you. Have another great show for you. Do me a favor as you come into the comment section. Do me a favor. Run those likes up so we can get the algorithm busting. Also, if you're watching this on the playback, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell for fresh content and takes from a coach's perspective. We do the X's and O's breakdown as much as the time allows us, and we'll get to it. But then again, like I said, welcome to the show. We have a great show for you today. Listen, we're going to be talking about, I'm going to give you my offensive line reviews. We're going to talk about some deficiencies, some things that I see in Justin Fields' game. And then we're going to talk about that and break it down, something that kind of translates over from the film breakdown I did on Justin Fields last year that I'm still seeing. We're going to talk about the defense, the defensive line, particularly the front four, not getting home. And I want to discuss that. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about Roquan Smith being back and what that means to the Chicago Bears. So thank you. That's it. Tap into the channel. Looking forward to having a good show. Y'all know what comes next. Cue the intro, maestro. Let's go. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And just like that, we're back again. Welcome to Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty. Perhaps maybe Swifty will join us later in the program. Listen, y'all might be like, Coach T, what's going on, man? Usually you're on at 1, you're down here on at 12. I told y'all this was coming as we approach the season. I was going to try and move the show up because I don't want to do a show that leads right up to game time and give myself time to prep for the games myself, perhaps travel, get to my location where I'm going to be watching the game, whatever the case may be. But also, I don't want to be competing with the national media as far as tailgating shows and so on and so forth. And then also all the other Bears DIY media out there. So we're moving the official time to 12 Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's 11 Central. Tap in. We're going to be here at 12. Do me a favor. If you're in the comment section, make sure you hit that like. Also, if you watch this on the playback, hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you'll know when we're on so you won't miss the program either way. And then also follow me on Twitter at Bears360_Coach T. And before we move on, let me do this real fast. Let me give a quick shout out to all my field soldiers. Yeah, shout out to the field soldiers. I know y'all gonna eat me up about that graphic and the apostrophe being in the wrong place. But yes, look, check this out. Coach T's playing chess, not checkers. Every time y'all comment about that apostrophe being in the wrong place, you're boosting the algorithm. So I decided I'm not going to change the graphic. So keep commenting about the graphic. I'll look crazy. Y'all keep boosting my algorithm by commenting, and we're all to be happy. So that's why I won't change it. So all the field soldiers, those are people who have subscribed to the channel, almost 2,300, not to be confused with 23,000 like I said last week. Freudian slippage, wishful thinking. Yes, I would love 23,000 subscribers, but that's all 2,300 of you. That's the field soldiers. That's you. Those of you that's in the comment sections week after week, show after show, commenting, giving your takes, giving your input. We appreciate the support as always, and that's leading up to the season. Hope that we'll continue to grow the channel, grow our following, grow our family as we proceed forward. So I appreciate you. Let's get into it, guys. Seattle versus Chicago Bears in the second preseason game. I felt the Chicago Bears dominated, right? Going against all the national takes. I don't even want to get into the commentary of the game itself with Louis Riddick and Dan Orlovsky and all of the, sucking up the Seattle locals. Maybe they didn't do their research. They just assumed the Bears were going to come out and lay an egg and look bad. But we went out there and kicked their behinds 27-11 in a great showing. I saw exactly what I wanted to see out of the first team offense. I wanted to see points. I wanted to see some kind of continuity and then to put together some kind of drive. And I believe they put together 11, 12 play drive that ended in a field goal. But I'm going to get into my next. I'm going to get in next after I get into these O-line grades. I'm going to talk about some things that I saw that I think that Justin specifically needs to work on, a carryover from my breakdown film over the summer that I think he can work on and help himself out. But real fast, let's jump into these offensive line grades. So this week, in only one drive, limited action, I gave Braxton Jones a B, Cody Whitehair a B, Sam Mustipher I gave a C+, Jenkins I gave a B, and Larry Borum I gave a C. Could be easily a C+. And it was just limited action. They didn't have the volume to truly be able to grade them off of one drive. I thought, you know what I'm saying, there was just small things that Larry could have done better in helping Tevin out, this being his first start at right guard. To do those two to work together and mesh is nothing truly to panic about. I think out of this group at this particular time, with the number of reps they have together, I think they're actually scoring exceptional grades. And if I'm not mistaken, Larry Borum has been cemented as the right tackle, and they moved Riley Reef to the second team right tackle. He's going to be the swing tackle. And then I believe Tevin Jenkins was also seen practicing at right guard still. Rumors out there about Tevin Jenkins potentially being traded by Adam Schefter. I wouldn't pay much attention to that. Adam Schefter had a terrible summer and spring with some of the calls and takes and reporting he does. That's why I kind of rely on Ian Rappaport more for information from a national level. So wouldn't put any lot of truth into that. Of course, Musty's at center right now. Soon as we get Patrick back, I believe this offensive line goes from a V6, or what I call a V6 offensive line, to potentially a V12 offensive line. Cody Whitehair continues to be solid, and Braxton Jones continues to impress. He continues to impress. There's small things that I thought that he did incorrectly. He's a little bit anxious on his, got a little bit anxious on his pass set and got beat up a little bit on that first screenplay. But it's a screenplay. How it affected the results of the play is also what I factor into my grades. So I thought overall, again, one play drive, they got points out of the drive. They performed well. They ran the ball well. The pass plays at first glance didn't look as crisp as they could have, because what I don't believe the national media and most fans actually saw that is Sean Desai on every pass play pretty much. He sent multiple blitzes, right? He sent blitzes from multiple ends, either sent one or two players on a blitz on every pass play. And I think Sean understands Justin Fields' weaknesses. So whether Sean is the actual defensive coordinator, and I can't confirm that right now, but he influenced that game plan. He knows what Justin's perceived weaknesses were last year, and he looked to capitalize on that this year by sending blitzes on every pass play on the first drive pretty much to throw Justin off, which is a good segue into my criticism of Justin Fields' play after watching the film a second or third time. Justin has to do a better job with his cadence. And I said this in my breakdown with him over the summer. Justin has a tendency to go on the first snap on every play. So if you go back and you watch the film, if you pay attention to the live call, he's going on one. He's going on the first snap count on every pass play. And on every play, actually, on this first drive, he's going on the first sound. And what happens when you go on the first sound on every play? What happens if you go on the first sound of every play, then the defensive line, especially in pass plays, they get a jump on your cadence, right? So defensive linemen they're preparing. That's actually one of the notes that they teach you to take when you're a defensive lineman. Take notes on the quarterback you're facing. What is his snap count like? Is he going to go on the first count? Does he typically go on the second count or third count of a play? that'll let you know if your ability to be able to jump the snap count and get off the ball and make it. On this play right here is a prime example. The defender jumped off sides. He got off sides. However, what you got to go back to what he was attempting to do, right? What was he attempting to do with this play? He jumped off sides, but what he was attempting to do was time up Justin's snap count. So again, from watching the film, if you go back and do the same, watch the live cadence and listen for the cadence. One of the things I listen for is the cadence. I leave the sound on and listen for the cadence. Justin is going on the first count every play. Snap, set, hut, right? Or ready, set. He's going on set, right? Every play. He's 100% of these plays, he went on the first count. All right? What that doesn't allow you to do is, again, I want to be clear about this. If you go on a second and third count, right, a la Karen Rodgers up north, right, you give yourself an opportunity to see the defense. You give yourself an opportunity to see who the defense will be sending. Then you can adjust your protection, right? You can adjust your protection to the number of blitzes and give yourself a better opportunity of being successful in that particular play. So Justin has to slow himself down, right? Go through his pre-snap reads, right? Whether we have a motion in there or not. Read his number of safeties, right? Check the depth, the corner depth and leverage to understand what the corners are potentially doing, right? Remember our acronym SDL, check your safeties, check your corner depth, check their leverage, right? If you got pre-snap motion, understand if the cornerback is trailing with your guy that's going in motion, or whether they're sitting back, or whether they're passing the motion man off, right? And then you go into your cadence. Then you go into your, down set. If you're going to do Omaha, a la Peyton Manning, whatever you're going to do, give them a hard count, understand who's coming, adjust your protection, and then get on, make them flinch. Exactly. Raging Oracle said it perfectly. Make them flinch and reveal the blitz, right? Also, I had to have this conversation with my brother. Pre-snap operations for a quarterback and a center have to be succinct. Center snaps, quarterback breaks the huddle, center grounds to the line of scrimmage. He points out to the mic. The center is going to call, he's going to make the initial slide protection call. He's going to make the initial slide protection call, right? So in one of these plays, I can't remember which one, where the running back stepped up. I'm going to guess and try to pick out which play it was, where the running back stepped up right up the middle on the blitz. It wasn't this one. This one right here, right there. Boom. On this play right here, I'm going to describe what happens right here. Potentially, what I feel like happened after watching that 2 or 3 times. So pre-snap, the center breaks the huddle. You come up, point out the mic, you make your initial slide protection call. You're going to slide the protection towards the number. So in that case, Sam Mustervood came up and made what I would call a rain call in my offense. Rain, so rain comes from the sky, lightning comes from the sky. So rain begins with R, that means right, lightning left. So the rain call means slide right? Offensive line slide right. But it's going to be a 3-by-2. So the center, guard, and tackle on the right side are going to slide right, and they're going to zone block to the right, and the other guys on the left side, they're going to man up on the left side. So they go man-to-man on the back side and zone on the front side, slide protecting to their right. The running back has to step up in the hole and meet that linebacker, that blitzing linebacker at the line of scrimmage. He can't wait, right? And you can't whiff. You cannot whiff. You can't wait and you cannot whiff, right? Khalil Herbert. So for all of the people that like to say or like to, come up with the idea that Khalil Herbert is better than David Montgomery, and that just may be an anomaly. That may just be a one-off play where he missed. But again, you don't have a whole lot of plays to make on the football field. You have to make the plays when the opportunity presents itself, you got to make the plays when you have a chance, right? So that's how that works. Slide protect right, man up on the backside, send the running back up the middle, and the running back has to know and be confident and step and put his nose in that linebacker's breastplate and knock him off his point. So that's my point about that. You know what I'm saying? Justin Fields carrying that over from last year. And that was, again, something we saw from last year. You got to slow the rookie down, go through his cadence, and make sure you see everything instead of running up there and running the play. And this may come from them having conversations about starting fast. There's a difference between starting fast and circumventing your pre-snap process. And I felt like he did a better job of that the first game because we all saw the play where he adjusted the protection with the tight end, kept the tight end in for a 6 or 7 man protection or a 60 or 7 man protection, and they had a successful play versus KC. So I think they might have had conversations about, hey, we need to speed up our process. We need to start fast versus Seattle because, we didn't get points versus Kansas City. So conversations perhaps about starting fast, and starting fast to him means, you know what I'm saying, speeding up or circumventing his process. So that's all I want to say about that. I'm going to take a pause in between segments to do this real fast because I want to get in comments and feedback. So let's slide.
It goes down in the DM. It go down in the DM.
All right, y'all know how that go, man. I'm just sliding the DM section real fast. I'm sliding in the DM to see what y'all saying so we can get comment and see what y'all comment. Raging Oracle says, isn't the center's job to change the protection, right? So I get that a lot, even when I'm having the conversations, but I'll have you think about the process. And let's think about this, and we'll answer our own questions. Not trying to be snarky, but again, this is a thinking, teaching show, right? So if you come up to the line of scrimmage, you point out the mic, right? You make the initial, you count the numbers, and you see you got more numbers to the left or right. You make the initial slide protection call. After that, the play, right? The start of the play belongs to the quarterback. After you do all that, so as soon as you do all that, right? And Justin says, ready, said, he starts his cadence. At that point, if you say anything else, you're going to affect, you could potentially affect the cadence and cause people to jump off sides. So for me, in my offense, after my center makes his initial call, right? Other than whispering something to the guard center or something between the offensive lineman, whispering something and making small calls here and there, they can't say anything like loud that's going to affect the entire offense on the field, right? They can make little adjustments. They can make a small call here about who's going to get who. That's usually in the run game. But about pass protection in my offense, no. Don't screw up my quarterback and his cadence, right? Don't screw him up his cadence. As soon as that quarterback takes over that cadence, he goes set. So I'm calling. Matter of fact, when I'm installing offenses, I'm teaching initially to start everything on the second count anyway, right? So we go set, go. Set. If he sees something, quarterback goes easy, right? That means everybody calm down. We finna reset the cadence. We're going to reset the cadence, right? Easy. Then you go, okay, whatever call that you have for the tight end to stay in and block or the running back to stay in. So you might go easy, razor. Razor means running back stay in. Or you might say tighten, or something that begins with a tight end. That means the tight end stay in, right? You come up with your own language, right? And then you'll go razor, or you'll go tighten. That means razor, running back. That means tight end, y'all stay in. You go from 50-man protection, 5-man protection. You go from 60 razor and tighten 70-man protection if you add all of them, right? So that takes you inside the cadence, right? And then you go back to your cadence as a quarterback. So now after you go easy, adjust the protection, then you might have a call for you to start over again, right? Which may sound like something said, So watch this. Come up to the line of scrimmage. Center points out the mic. Slide protection call. Quarterback takes over the cadence. He goes set, easy, easy, easy. Razor, tighten, razor, tighten. That means you're keeping the running back tight end in it. Now he goes set again. Set means everybody gets set, right? Everybody gets set, and then you snap the ball. See what I'm saying? I hope that did a good job of explaining that. At least that's how we do it in my system, right? That's how we teach it in my system. But all those are similar. You got to try and communicate, try and keep as much confusion down as possible, and keep everybody flowing. Jonathan Russell said Herbert needs to keep his head up when blocking. He tends to lower his head, lower and lead with his head. Absolutely, that's exactly what he did on that play, Jonathan. He got to keep his head up. He got to sit in the chair. He got to bring his feet, hips, and hands. Pass blocking, run blocking 101, and make it happen. Raging Oracle said, let the running back choose who to help. Sam's has a 3-4 yards to pick up that blitz. He saw him coming pre-snap. Yeah, I mean, but it's whatever system they install, right? It's whatever system they have in, right? You can do that one or two ways, right? You can do the 3x2 system where you slide the numbers you slide the 3 towards the numbers, or you can slide everybody. So when I had super young kids, right? When I had really, really young kids, what I do is I slide everybody and I have the running back go to the weak side. The problem with sliding everybody to the right and have your running back going to the weak side is you're going to get a running back matched up versus perhaps a dominant defensive end, right? A superstar defensive end that comes off an edge. And what's worse, a running back going against a 6 foot, 225, 230 pound guy, or a running back going against a 6'6", 6'5", 280 to 300 pound player in that. Now that's NFL. Now high school, middle school, you can get away with sliding everybody one side and have the running back go opposite of the slide. But in the NFL, it wouldn't work so well, I don't think. It's just too much disparity in the size of the player, in between the running back and the defensive end. So, yeah. I just who is this? The cadence led to a first down on a defensive penalty. Yeah, Tareen said the cadence led to a first down on a defensive penalty. I don't think it was necessarily the cadence per se, because he was still going on one. He didn't give a hard count. It was just that the defender jumped the cadence because he was trying to time it, which should have been an indicator, right? Hey, they're trying to time me up. Let me switch up the snap count. I don't think the defender jumped because of the cadence. I think the defender got the penalty because he just got overzealous with the cadence. Again, I don't believe he switched up to snap count the entire drive. That's why I went back and looked specifically for that. Once I went through like my third or fourth trip through the film, I don't think he switched it up the whole time. Do me a favor, guys. That's my first stop at the DM section. Do me a favor as you're coming in, like, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you're watching this on the replay. Also follow me on Twitter, _Coach T. Tap in as we'll be communicating on Twitter throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? Drop some takes there. Do a little debating in Twitter, Bears Twitter, which I like to call bitter sometimes. Just having a little fun in the Twitter space, man. So there you go with that. Hopefully you guys were able to pick up on some of the stuff I was putting down right there. I'm trying to get in and out of here today. All right, let's talk about this defense, man. Let's talk about this Bears defense. First game, KZ, I thought Jaquan Brisker played great. I thought we showed some great things. I thought Alan Williams showed, hey, I'm not going to sit back on my heels and you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to play games. I'm not going to allow offenses to attack me and for us to see, go through whole drives before, we come out and we respond with blitzing players. So he's going to play aggressively. He's going to play with safeties in the box, safeties out of the box. He's going to use all kinds of coverages, man, 3, cover 2, 4, cloud. He's going to use combo coverages, 5 and 6. He's going to do all that, right? He showed that versus KC, right? He also showed a little bit of that versus Seattle. Alan Williams, our defensive coordinator, did. The challenge, what I want to see out of this defense, right? What I want to see out of this defense is I want to see us get home with the front 4. Now, we're not going to be like Dan Orlovsky. We're not going to be like Louis Riddick. We're not going to make excuses for our team. We're not going to make excuses for our team. So let's agree as Bears fans, right? We know we're in a remodel year. Let's call it a remodel year. We're in a remodel year, but let's agree that we have a coach that set a standard. HIT standard. The HITS acronym is the standard. So the standard is the standard, right? We have to get there with our front 4. We have to get there with our front 4. We have to be able to rush the passer with our front 4 because we want to leave 7 guys behind the front 4 in coverage to give us a numbers advantage. And what I'm seeing from this defense so far, what concerns me from this defense so far is that we're not getting home with our front 4. Robert Quinn did play a few plays versus Seattle. So I don't necessarily want to hear the excuse that Robert Quinn is not playing a whole lot of plays or he's not playing a whole lot of plays. If we're advertising these guys, these other guys, the others, to be dogs and be potential stars in this defense, Jones, Gibson, the rookie, they got to get home. And I want to see us get home with the front 4 because if we can get home with the front 4 and obvious passing downs again, that leaves us 7 versus 5, right? 7 DBs and linebackers versus 3 wide receivers and a running back, or 5 wide receivers, right? Or 4 wide receivers and a running back, 3 wide receivers and a tight end and a running back. Whatever the case may be, we will have the numbers if we can get there with 4. Our 7 beats their 4 every time. At least we hope, in theory, right? So I got to see push up the pocket from Jones, whoever's in the middle, right? Blackston got in there a little bit this past week. But what I want to see over the next couple weeks, I want to see a consistent pass rush. I want to see pressure with the front 4, not with a blitzing linebacker, not with a corner coming off the edge. Your front 4 has to get pressure. That's my criticism of the defense. Other than that, great hustle. You're seeing great hustle. You're seeing great effort, with the exception of some guys that played late in the game versus Seattle. Number 49, I don't know who he is, but he got plenty of loafs on tape. I don't know. It just stuck out to me. He's just playing like super bad. Some plays he didn't even rush the pass. He just stood up and stood there, like literally stood there. Like I've never seen that in an NFL game. But other than that, guys are hustling to the ball. They're game tackling. They're punching at the ball. They seem to be on their assignment. They seem to be aligned. They seem to be reading their keys, and they're getting to the ball. We just gotta have pressure. We gotta have pressure. It's just no, you know what I'm saying? Stop the run, pressure the quarterback. Football is that simple. We don't have to go crazy on that. So we'll pause right there. Pause right there before I get into this last section. I'll go back to the DM section real fast again.
It goes down in the film. It go down.
Twitter is going. I mean, Facebook, YouTube. Man, I'm calling out all the social media platforms. YouTube is going to tag me. They're going to kill me for using that song more than once, but we don't care. We'll mute it out. Beartooth9 says Justin Jones wasn't playing. He is good. I hope so. That's all I'm saying. You know, you guys know how I do it, right? I like to say what I see, but I give you guys something to look out for when we go into this last preseason game and even the first game versus the 49ers, right? I don't doubt 1 second that the kid is good. But what I'm saying is, like with all our takes, right? We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. I want to see one of our guys win up front and get to the quarterback just off rip, off of a natural play to make a play in the backfield, or in the backfield. Yes, three technique notes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to classify them. So Raging Oracle says our three tech knows so average. I don't want to diagnose them yet. I'm just telling you guys what I want to see. Right? It's still early. I give them that. Right? It's still early. All that stuff. But going into this Cleveland game, first game of the season, we got to have pressure. I want to see pressure from one of those guys or the rotational guys that get up there and are supposed to get to the quarterback. Robinson took a nice step forward. Week one, he showed better leverage from his feet to his hands. And then I can see him good 1 year. Yeah, I think, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Do we have guys that can make it happen? I believe we can. But sometimes there's a disconnection between what you're coaching and how that's translating on the field. Now, mind you, what we got to understand too and keep in mind is a lot of this is defensive linemen work together similar to offensive linemen. So sometimes it's finding that right combo of guys to get them going where they can get in there and they can get their rhythm going, where when we're doing stunts and twists and stuff like that, guys know each other. They know one another's tendency and habits. They know what each other like to do, and we can create that proper pressure, right? So part of that is I don't know if these guys have enough game reps together, right? But at the same time, it hasn't been shown on tape so far, so I'm not going to let them off the hook and saying I'm raising my level of awareness and expectation on the pass rush. Let's see. I'm working backwards, so if these are some of y'all old comments, just bear with me. I like the interior defense line is still very average. I feel like the interior defense line is still very average. I've never seen Tunga getting his hands as much previous years, getting handles as much in previous years as going back to him in college. Yeah, again, great point. We haven't heard a lot out of anybody except for Blackston when it comes to a pass rush on the interior. Right? So, Justin's, we got to get you going. Jones, we got to get you going on that pass rush. Tunga, we got to get you going. We got to get the rook going. And then, of course, the expectation is that Robert Quinn's going to come in and do his things. Matt Helper, shout out to you from I want to call it the donation right now because I don't know how it came in. But Matt says, Coach T, George Pickens looks like an immediate start with some other receivers. Any regrets with Gordon at nickel? You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing is, right, that's a little bit of revisionist history, right? Yeah, I think we all had George Pickens slated. We wanted him to come to the Bears. This is only going to be a issue if Kyler Gordon does not pan out to be who they expect him to be, right? If Kyler Gordon ends up turning out to be who we're panning him out to be, meaning a guy that can travel from nickel and outside, because here's the thing, right? All this conversation about nickel cornerbacks and, QB, CB1, CB2s, or outside guy, nickel, all this, we have to keep in mind, the game is played differently now, right? The game is played differently. Cooper Kupp is going to line up 80% of the time, 85, maybe 90% of the time in the slot, right? Devontae Adams is going to line up 80% of the time in the slot, right? This is one of our problems last year. Teams could take advantage of us because we didn't necessarily have a guy that could play outside and then go inside and be twitchy enough and to play in all that traffic, right, and play with all that real estate. Go inside the cornerback's mind. Usually a cornerback is counting on using that sideline, right, using that slide line as an extra defender, right? So if you're on the left side, right, that left sideline is an extra defender. So you understand where in space, where a wide receiver can and cannot run. When you move into that slot, right, when you move into that nickel spot, then the field is wide open. The wide receiver knows in that slot, he has a whole field to work with. So you can't use the sidelines as leverage, right? And then if, depending on what we're in coverage wise, a lot of those corners, guys that predominantly prosper in a Tampa 2, cover 2 man or zone defense, they count on having safety help over the top, right? So imagine the box, the level of things, that the number of things you don't have to think about when you're playing outside in a cover 2 man or zone, right? You have the sideline, you got safety help over the top. I just got to keep things in front of us. If I move in the slot, now I got to worry about everything. And if they trust him so far to have him playing in that nickel spot right now and he pans out, nobody will care. Trust me, nobody will care that we didn't pick George Pickens, Matt. That's getting back to your point, right? So if he can go in and he can lock up the Cooper Kupps in the slot of the world, the Devontae Adams of the world in the slot, the other team's best receiver is always going to be moved around. He's going to. I'm an offensive coordinator. One of my tenets is I want to move my best wide receiver to the slot because I want to get my slot matchup with your third best corner, a linebacker, or a safety. Create mismatches. So if he pans out, nobody will care, Matt. Long answer to a short question, but I wanted to make sure I dove in on details. Plus, you donated $10, so you deserve all of that extra explanation too. And I agree with Swifty right here. I believe Gordon will be a stud. He's gonna take his lumps. Listen, I'm not gonna be naive. He's gonna take his lumps, but he gonna get his too, right? And then we have the added benefit of, of your boy being able to come off the edge in blitzes. He doesn't mind blitzing, and then also he understands his run fits in a nickel position too, because that's another thing that a lot of people forget about nickel cornerbacks, right? Once you move into that slot, you become part of the run game, and you have to understand your run fits. And what I mean by run fits is, let's go to, I think it was a good time to transition to Coach T's playbook. Why not? Let's talk about that. So when he comes off of the edge, he has to be able to make his run fit. So let's use that for Coach T's playbook session for the week, and we'll talk about why is that important. Boom. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Boom. Let's switch this around. Y'all bear with me a second. All right, let's do this. All right, let's take some of this stuff off the screen from a week ago. It's only going to confuse you. But let's bring this up. Let's talk about it. Somebody said it in the chat. Coach T is going to teach some ball. I appreciate the support, man. But let's go pull up a classic pro I formation. We're going to go pro left. Let's go Y off, just because we can be fancy. Let's go Y off, pro left I formation. And let's talk about, matter of fact, it wouldn't apply here, so we need to some kind of spread formation. Let's go ace. Let's go what I call ace left or ace right gun. So we're going to bring the quarterback. We're going to bring the quarterback in the gun right here. Fullback here. We're going to bring tight end on the line of scrimmage. We're going to bring a wide receiver in the slot, right? This is going to be ace right gun. Ace right gun. Right. So what happens right here in an ace formation? Right? Ace formation. We have to bring a nickel on the field because of personnel, right? So they're going to be in 11 personnel here, right? So we have to bring a nickel on, right? So let's transfer one of these backers out. And this is going to be our nickel. All right, that's our nickel. Let's put our tackle where he should be. A 0, 1, 2, 3 technique. Our nose where he should be. 1 technique. Right? Our nickel's going to slide out here. Right? Put our corners where they should be. And I'm not going to go in some kind of coverage, right? I'm just going to explain real fast the responsibilities. So again, let me put our backers where they should be. Backers where they should be, somewhat. All right. This is loosely lined up correctly. Matter of fact, let me go into get this right. Right. So this is what I was describing earlier, right? That nickel in this slot has to worry about playing in space. He doesn't have a sideline here to use his leverage. And depending on what coverage we in, you know what I'm saying, he may or may not have safety help over the top. But understand that he has to be able to function in space, right? But also, he's part of the run package program. So because he's in this nickel slot, more than likely, he's going to have contain here. Defensive end's going to have this gap right here. And I haven't practiced this, so y'all give me some grace. D end got contained here. Backer has this gap. These are where your run fit should be. I'll just put them in the actual gap. You have to account for every gap on the defense. Right? So you see how that works? He's going to have to be a guy. He's going to have to be a dog. He's going to have to be ready, willing, and able to step up in that gap and make things happen, along with playing his past responsibilities. So it's somewhat of a big deal that we have a guy that can do that. And especially if we're going to do that and we're going to keep and stay in two high safeties. He becomes part of the run fit package right here. We have to account for every gap. And as you can see, I put a player in every gap in this situation. So he's going to have to get up. He's going to have to understand the linebacker calls, right? He's going to have to understand the linebacker calls. The linebacker is going to usually come up and call the strength of the formation. The strength of the formation, if you divide the field in half from the center out, the strength of the formation is wherever the numbers are. So from the center, if you start counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be like a right call, a razor or something like that. Then that'll tell the nickel, okay, that'll tell the defensive line how to align, and it'll tell the nickel, all right, you're going to have corner. You're going to have contain on the backside, right? So I hope I did a good job of explaining that. If not, you can hit me on Twitter, Chicago Bears _360, and ask me to explain it better. I'll be happy to, if I can do a better job. But if I can't, then you're stuck with my bad explanation. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's Coach T's playbook segment for today. Hope y'all got something out of that. I hope it makes sense. What did I say? Did I say Facebook? Y'all, hey, charge it to my head, not to my brain. But that's Coach T's playbook session for today. Hope y'all got something out of that. Do me a favor, man. If you are watching on the playback, you just come in. Do me a favor, man. Run those likes up. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell, man. I am Coach T. My boy Swifty may or may not join us today. I know I started a bit early. Doesn't necessarily line up with his schedule, but y'all see him down in the comment section. Always tapping in. I'm going to bring his comments and his takes up if he asks them here, and go with that. By the way, man, your boy Valus Jones Jr. did this on his Instagram account, on his social media account, but I just need to holler at your boy real fast because I have a problem with using this nickname for him, man. I like V12. I don't like VJJ. It's just not jiving for me. Let's go with V12, man. I want one of our rookie prospects and potential stars being known as VJJ. We just got to do something better about that. But Saquon Wooden said if VJJ becomes Percy Harvin 2.0, no one will care about picking success. I agree with you. But just let's change it from VJJ to V12, man. Let's we got to do better, man. Anyway, where we at? So we talk about defensive line. Let's talk about last take, man. Our last thing before we hit the 1 o'clock hour real fast and transition real fast, man. How do y'all feel about the Roquan situation? Roquan Smith, Actually practiced with the team yesterday. Shout out to Swifty for breaking that for Bears DIY Media. At least I was on the road driving, and I saw Swifty's video comment come up first. Roquan coming back to practice, and then I was able to join the press conference or see the press conference on the Bears channel live. Seeing Roquan came back, and then to his credit, man, Roquan did what they said he was going to do. He went out there and asked about 8 or 9 questions about the situation, and what I felt like gave renewable R&R, bro. We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better with these nicknames, bro. Anyway, Roquan came out and answered questions, about 8 or 9 questions pertaining to the contract negotiations and situation, man. And I thought I understood Roquan's position or his mindset from the beginning. After the press conference, I feel like I understood his mindset even now. It goes back for me to what Herb Howard said about Roquan being a principled person, having been the last of his rookie class to sign his contract from the beginning, right? You know what I'm saying? To a man, you got to respect the individual's desire to learn and change the game. Because something was always done a particular way doesn't mean that it should always be done that way, right? And to his point, he said, hey, when asked about, should he have an agent? Should he have hired an agent? A lot of fans are split on that. I even mentioned that Roquan should have had an agent. But again, hearing it explain to the reason why, it makes perfect sense to me. The league is changing, right? This is what I want you guys to understand. Until you do something, until you pioneer something, until you trailblaze something, until you have the courage to make something the norm, until you, the person that has the courage to take all of the bullets for being the one that goes against the grain, right? Go against how things have always been done. Until you're the one that had the courage to take all the bullets for that, to be a trailblazer, to be a pioneer, right? You don't earn the right to be called a leader. And a lot of times when you're lauded as a leader, or you're respected as a leader, a lot of times it's in retrospect, right, to the stance that you're taking on a particular situation. So in this case, Roquan was like, look, man, the league is changing, right? And I want to be a part of the process. I want to sit at the table. You sitting here talking about me and my contract and my future. I want to be at the table. I want to understand the in and out of it. And actually, when somebody asked him the question, what did you learn about the process other than what you also knew? He said, I didn't really learn anything. I learned how the league works. Translation to me was, I learned that the league is effed up. I learned that the system is effed up, right? It's the emoticons. It's the I almost want to say almost like cultural translation. Like, it's the things you say that you don't have to say that I identify with, right? Understanding like, hey, him saying like, I understand the system is jacked up. I understand how things are done is jacked up, and I don't agree with it. So I want to change the narrative. I want players to start. I want to be part of that wave of players where they start saying, no, I'm not going to send a guy into the room to talk for me. I'm going to talk for myself, or I'm going to be there to real time have decisions or help them make decisions about my future. After all, it's my decisions. And then I also thought what was impressive was how he answered Herb Howard's question. When Herb answered, how do you resolve, right, the conflict between feeling disrespected by the organization, the ownership, which you felt like should have had your back in the situation, and deciding to put on a helmet and pads and go out there and ball for your team. And Roquan said exactly that, which is, hey, it's about the guys that I go to battle with, guys I share blood, sweat, and tears with, right? And then also it's about the city of Chicago and the fans, the loyal fans that come out and help pay my salary. Now, you know what I'm saying? How much they care about, really truly care, players as a whole, how much they truly care about what we think as fans and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Whether that was genuine, whether they really truly care about fans or not. I think that's to an individual, right? How much they allow that impact how they really feel about the situation, right? But I know this for sure. The guys that you play to your left and to your right, you cannot play that game, right? Unless you trust the guy to the left and to the right, in front and behind you, right? So to that part of it, I don't have any pushback on, right? I don't have any pushback on. Could have been handled better by Roquan in situations? Yeah, but guess what? When you're going to be a leader, you're going to be a pioneer, you're going to do some stupid stuff, you're going to make mistakes. And again, in retrospect, nobody cares. Because at the end of the day, name all the great people in our history, not throughout the history of our country. At the time that they were doing what they were doing, at the time they were making the stances they were making, they got ridiculed, they got put down, they got talked about, they got this, that, and the other. And then history recorded them as a leader later on. So that's my take on that. I felt like, and I feel like Roquan did on principle what he wanted to do, what he set out to do, right? He wanted to make his name, keep his name clear, and bring the fans in on how he was feeling. That's why he published what he said. The other part of that is I felt like the whole time he had a date in mind, right? He had a number of weeks in mind that he and maybe Coach Uberflus ever talked about, where he said, hey, I'm going to go up until this date. And if we don't get something done for this, right? If we don't get something done by this date, basically he sat down with the coach and said, this is how much time I need to get prepared for the season. Me personally. We work that out amongst ourselves. I'll be in film. I'll be in team meetings. I'll be on the sideline encouraging my teammates. I'll be on travel trips. I'll be on that. I won't be an internal distraction for this sit-in, which, by the way, sit-ins are actually becoming more of a norm than they were in the past. See, you didn't used to hear about sit-ins. Players would sit home, drink RC Colas, and eat Ho-Hos and Twinkies and wait on them to announce a deal, and then they would show up at work. So kudos to Flu, Roquan, Ryan, all parties involved for doing the best they could with the situation it has. So now, to a point, Roquan says, hey, my mind is not on the contract no more. It's not going to be discussed during the season. I'm focused on football and battling for my guys. And I'm going to put it on film. I'm going to bet on myself, meaning I'm going to raise my level of play so we don't have to talk about de-escalators. We don't have to talk about any of that trash. I'm going to go out here and ball out my 5th year, and then the pressure is going to be on y'all to pay me or not pay me, right? Although his number in that franchise is going to look like something like $21 million anyway. So it's going to become what it becomes, right? So I just want to explain a little bit of the kind of intricacies, because to me, this is just me personally. To me, I don't think about these guys, hey, as just football players, right? You know what I'm saying? They could do he could do a Barry Sanders. He could do a what was the wide receiver out of Detroit? Shout out to Don Bird, by the way. Why all y'all great players just have to walk away from the game because they just so used to losing? Anyway, but the wide receiver, what was his name? The big guy, Megatron, right? You can just decide one day, hey, I've had enough, and walk away from the game. These guys don't have to, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to entertain us by playing a game. It's a game, right? And by the way, football is only a short duration of your life anyway. And then the other part about that is I want fans to keep in mind is this. Guess what? Only one team wins a championship at the end of the year anyway. And then you start all over again. So guess what? In the big picture of life, nobody cares. I wanted to use an expletive right there. Nobody cares. That's when it calls for us as fans to come back and take some perspective, right? And step back and be like, all right, cool. Let that man get his money. You know what I'm saying? I hope he balls out. I hope he's safe. Appreciate that. Y'all know I be having those moments, man. Calvin Johnson, Megatron. Listen, I hope he balls out. I hope he's safe. I hope he stays healthy. I hope this does not turn out to be an Earl Thomas situation. Y'all remember the old Earl Thomas break of the middle finger towards Pete Carroll during the game when he got injured, because Earl Thomas was going through the same situation. Value as high as it'll ever be. Markets where it needs to be for you to get paid. Negotiations break down. Guy steps on the field for his teammates and for the fans. Ends up tearing up his knee or something like that. So he flicks off his coach. So I'm praying against any kind of that energy reaching Roquan, any injury. I hope he goes out, balls out, stays healthy, increases his value. And whether he gets his money with Chicago or another team, shout out to you, man. You know what I'm saying? You put your body on the line for a game. I'm talking about football. A game. Anyway, off my soapbox on that. I'm going to go back to the DM section as soon as my mouse wakes up. So I can see what y'all got to say on the subject, and then we're going to...
It goes down in the film. It goes.
And then we're going to get up out of here. Yeah, that was bad. I'm saying, Quan, get your money. Raging Oracle says, I'm saying, Quan, get your money, man. I just don't like the idea of guys playing not to get hurt. I say this, Quan. I say this, Raging Oracle. If you listen to Roquan yesterday, he low-key sound pissed off. He's like, all right. It was almost like, all right, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm finna go out here and I'm finna put it on tape and I'm finna show you what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It almost like he has that, he's flicked the switch in his head like, okay, y'all not going to pay me? That was cool. We tried. All right, cool. But what I'm finna do to the league, I'm finna put everybody on notice and y'all ain't gonna have no choice, right? Who is this? No, man. What are y'all giving me barbecue recipes for? Mixed open pit with some sweet baby rays and some whiskey. Come back and holler at me. What is that about? Nomad, what is going on in the comment section right now, bro? He's giving out, you gonna start a cooking YouTube show? We gonna start a cooking segment? I don't know what just happened. Calvin Johnson, appreciate y'all for open pit. It's old school, man. It's around the corner. It's around. What are y'all doing? Did I make a barbecue reference? Maybe it's the barbecue mildew or doo-doo. Okay. I'm backtracking now. That man said RC Cola and what next? Open pit sauce. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's just old coaches thing, man. I agree with you, Ty. Back in, for in. If they can stay, man. If we can stay in too high, it'll help. But if we getting bludgeoned through the run up front, then we won't have too high. We'll have a single high safety because we don't have to play with 8-man boxes. So 2 things to look out again for that defensive line. 1, can they get to the passer? 1, can they stop the run with 7? 2, can they get to the passer? Can they get to the quarterback? That's it. Rage Oracle says the tag is $18.1 million at the X position. $20 million is not that far away. Just stop the de-escalators and space age clauses and get a deal done. And Oracle, you make a great point, man. I said this on Twitter, right? A lot of the conversation. I said this on Twitter about a take that I got from Booger Farland. By the way, if y'all didn't see, Thursday morning, me and Booger Farland got into a nice little exchange about the Bears' offensive line being trash. And I'm like, Booger, you're not watching film, bro. You're not watching film. It's not the O-line. The O-line is great, not well. It's the running backs and Justin's ability to recognize his blitzes and get the ball out or change the play. But either way, we're not scheming to that level right now anyway. So what does it matter? But also Riddick, Orlovsky, ESPN as a whole, and everybody just wants to jump on last year's take, recycle last year's take. It's almost like they're like taking their notes from last year and dusting them off and going back to it. But to my point, what we need to realize is, man, a lot of these takes and positions and systems are set up are the equivalent to us using CDs and cassette tapes, right? Right? The way they negotiated contracts back 5 years ago even is probably not relevant today. We need to have fresh ideas. We need to have fresh perspectives. The world is always changing. If you don't change with it, bro, you're going to get left behind. So what is the saying? You know what I'm saying? If you stand in the way of If you stand in the way of progress, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. And that's what I believe applies to a lot of these NFL systems that are set up. How they negotiate contracts, right? How they treat players. Look at what the NBA has done and how NBA players are played. You can't compare them directly, apples to oranges, but the philosophy and how you pay players has to change, right? Guys want as much guaranteed money as possible because guess what? It's guaranteed that Sunday is going to come and they're going to be on that field putting their bodies on the line. So if you want de-escalator clauses, you basically, and I do this for a living, you basically want the player to absorb all the risk of a combat sport, right? So de-escalators, backloaded contracts, little guarantee money. You're basically, as a business, right? You're doing what we call, in my profession, you're ATMing the risk, right? You can accept the risk, which is sign the player. You can transfer the risk by, through the contract, putting de-escalators in and putting clauses in, or you mitigate the risk as an organization, a company, ATM, accept, transfer, and mitigate, right? I don't like to get into what I do for a living, but you mitigate by saying, hey, I'm passing and I'm pushing it all onto the player. And I just don't think that's right. I think it's unfair to players. I think it's, a kid can go out there and get paralyzed tomorrow. And if he doesn't get his guaranteed money, guess what? He don't get paid after, of course, putting them on the routine list. Look at Johnny Knox. Look at the tight end that played for the Bears that ended up getting injured, almost losing his leg. I can't remember his name, right? How's that guy feeding his family now and taking care of his wife and kids, right? We need to think about that stuff.